Hi everyone, today I am with Lindsay of Lively Ghost and we're going to talk about our collab that we did.
Yes. We created 11 elixirs.
So. Yeah.
Hot cocos, teas, all in the spirit of Tim Burton films, each one representing a different film. It was fun.
Yeah.
I loved it. So we're here to talk about each and every one because each one is just as fun as a Tim Burton film.
So which one did you want to start off talking about?
Ooh. Strange and Unusual.
Okay.
I think that's a fun one. Yeah. So that one, it's a Matcha Hot Chocolate.
Yes, it's a Matcha Hot Chocolate.
I think for me, a lot of the ideas that came to mind for the teas and cocos were like color scheme. I think a lot of the way I work is like I'll look at one of his films and I'll think like, what are the color schemes of the film? And I just think green and Beetlejuice, like it made sense. So I was like, I definitely want like matcha, but I want it to be a hot chocolate too. Like find some way to intertwine. And I've never seen a matcha hot chocolate before personally.
Yeah, at least not
I'm sure
like sold like that.
Yeah. So I was like, that just seems like a good mixture of the two. So yeah, and then we found cute sprinkles.
Yeah, that matched the movie.
That matched.
And I created the label. She did the artwork, but I kind of helped put it together and kind of went through with her exactly what she wanted and what she envisioned. And I got to actually make the blends for her, and I've always loved working with Lindsay, so it's been fun. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and what I love, too, is that it's just so collaborative, because while I can have all these crazy ideas, you're very good at... One thing I love, too, is that I can kind of go crazy with all these ideas of flavors and things that I think would kind of emulate the film or what it is that I'm trying to evoke in the blend, and you'll be like, okay, here's what will actually go together. Here's what will actually taste good because you're a master of your craft in that way.
You.
And so I think working together and kind of figuring out both what would be unique and cool, but also not so adventurous that no one would want to try it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I think we work really well together because I love it. Lindsay will text me like really late at night. She's like, I have these ideas. I'm like, yes, tell me.
Always.
And they're awesome. And I'm like, wait, that does sound really good together. Because she'll have these really cool flavor combinations that I personally wouldn't even think of because like my flavor palette's completely different than hers. But then I'm like, wait, that's a great idea. Like, let's do it. Like, that sounds so fun. So, like, that's kind of what, like, our relationship has been when it comes to, like, collabing.
Yeah.
So we definitely have more collabs later on this year, too. But yeah, so do you want to talk about the next one?
Yes. Okay. So and I'm gonna need you to help me keep track.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to remember
too. There's a lot. So okay, maybe we should go through the hot chocolates first.
Yeah, that'll help, I think.
Yeah. So let's do Ice Dance next.
Yes. Okay.
So the Ice Dance blend is in honor of Edward Scissorhands. And of course for that one I was like, hot chocolate already for me reminds me a lot of like winter. So I was like, it's got to be a hot chocolate as opposed to a tea. I drink tea all the time. And so for that one I wanted it to be frosty. I wanted something cold that emulates the wintry feel of Edward Scissorhands.
Right.
So I was like, let's do peppermint and maybe like, to give it kind of that white aesthetic, like really cool sprinkles that we can intertwine with it to make it look as wintry as it tastes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The sprinkles that we ended up choosing were like these white and silver type of sprinkles, and it just did give it that frosty look. And again, we'll show you kind of the images and videos of each hot chocolate. So this one's a Peppermint Hot Chocolate, which is perfect for Edward Scissorhands, and the packaging, I love just the art that Lindsay did for it. Aww. And yeah, it's so pretty, and I mean, Peppermint Hot Chocolate's one of my favorites in general, so that's definitely one of my favorite hot chocolates that we've done.
Yeah, I love it too. Two flavors that I really like, which also some of this comes into play in some of the later brews, is I like sometimes having teas or hot chocolates with a kick, like because it's like you're so used to the sweet flavor that comes with chocolate or teas, and so to have like an electrifying kick to it, kind of mixing a little bit of savory with the sweet, I think makes it extra special.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's the Ice Dance blend.
Yes, Ice Dance.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of the next one.
Sleepy Hollow?
Sleepy Hollow, yes.
Let's do that.
Sleepy Hollow was one of my favorites.
Me too. Me too. I can actually give note to who inspired that one. So there's a chocolatier in New York. I think at least like they're probably all over. I think they're in France and New York called Jacques Torres. He's like a famous chocolatier. He has his own little store. And they have all different kinds of cool flavors, and one of the things I love to get whenever I'm in New York is they have these little chocolates, and one of them is an Earl Grey hot chocolate, or Earl Grey chocolate. It's not hot chocolate, because I had never seen that.
Yeah, neither
I was
have
like, it's just Earl Grey little chocolate. It's almost like a C's. And I loved that combination of flavor. So Earl Grey always reminds me of autumn, like especially if you get like a London fog, which is Earl Grey tea latte. Just reminds me of autumn. So I was like, I want to do like the Earl Grey and chocolate combination that I had tried in these chocolates, but as a hot chocolate. And I think it works really well.
Yeah, it was definitely something super unique that Lindsay came up with. And I was like, yes, Earl Grey is my favorite tea of all time. And in a hot chocolate, it made sense.
Totally.
So I was like, this is perfect. It's spooky and it's autumn-like. And I was super excited about this one too. This one I think was my number one favorite.
Really? Yeah, I think it definitely got a lot of comments, like in positive ways. Everyone was like, "I'm so excited to try that one." Yeah, so I actually haven't tried it myself yet. I've tried a lot of them, but I haven't tried. I think probably I'm saving that one for a special occasion because I know it'll be so good.
Yes, I'm super excited about that one. Yeah, I love it, and it looks really cool too because you have like the loose leaf tea in the hot chocolate, so it's got like these wiry branch like tea leaves, so it looks really cool. Yeah, which actually I love the mixture of, you know, because hot chocolate you stir it and you're done, but then tea you brew it, and so having kind of that mixture of different methods and brewing a hot chocolate I think is really unique and cool. Yeah, I love that. Plus, even with these, like, there have been times where I've wanted just a hot chocolate with, like, a little hint of something. So I've made cups of just flat hot chocolate and then added a scoop of some of our teas or some of our hot chocolate tea blends and mix it together, and it adds just that, like, hint of flavor into the hot chocolate, which I love. Yeah. That's so cool. I love it.
Next is the Pumpkin King.
Yes, Pumpkin
blend.
King.
For this, the idea was that I really wanted to have something that intertwined Halloween and Christmas. So again, in the same way that with the Edward Scissorhands blend, I was like, it needs to be hot chocolate for Christmas, because every time in winter, I'm always drinking hot chocolate. But what do you drink in autumn? Well, for me, it's a pumpkin spice latte. So I was like, let's combine those two, pumpkin spice latte and hot chocolate, and just kind of blend them together and make a Nightmare Before Christmas, really. So that was kind of my thinking behind it. Yeah,
I really like that one because it reminds me of like these pumpkin tarts that I had where it's got like the hard chocolate underneath of like a pumpkin, and they're like little tiny ones. I think you get them at Trader Joe's. I don't remember. They're really good, and that's what it reminded me of, and I was like, yes, these are good too.
I love that.
Yeah. And I mean, pumpkin is popular, so I'm not surprised if that one like was like one of the ones that did like really well.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm one of those people who like anything pumpkin spice. Like, you know how you see those every year? They always release something crazy like pumpkin spice toothpaste. I'm like, I will try it once. Anything pumpkin spice, I'll try it once. If I like it, I'll keep, but I love pumpkin spice so much that I'm like, I can't say no.
Yeah.
Gotta try it.
Yeah.
So with this, you've got like just your quessential pumpkin spice flavors and mixed in a hot chocolate. It's like, doesn't get better than that.
Exactly, yeah. And plus, I think the pumpkin too, what's nice about it is that it does have a little bit of caffeine. It's kind of like a pumpkin cappuccino, so it's almost like a mocha in a sense, which is really fun too.
Yeah. So that's a really interesting way of putting it. Yeah. I love that. Trying to think of our other hot chocolates.
We did. The Sweeney Todd one.
You're right.
Yeah. Fleet Street.
That's probably my favorite one aesthetically.
Yeah.
It's really unique because when you look in the tin, you open it up, it's almost like a dust.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Almost like a floorboard type of like look.
Yeah, like floorboard, or even like, not, I guess to be grim, like ashes. Yeah. Like almost like ground up bones.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that.
Which sounds so unappetizing, but it definitely emulates a lot of that kind of look and aesthetic. But once you put it to hot water or milk or hot milk, it turns red.
Yeah, like a
blood.
bright red. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's so cool. It's like one of those, like, it's so funny because it's like so brings you back to being a child of like color changing, but that's actually what it is like a color changing hot chocolate blend. It's a red velvet hot chocolate. So yeah, once you put hot water to it or hot milk, it turns like blood red, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like as I'm blending it, I'm like, wow, it really does look like you're drinking blood. It's like a red hot chocolate. It sounds so gross, but it looks so cool, and it tastes like red velvet.
Yeah.
It's great.
And we even added like red sprinkles too on top. And when I was pouring the sprinkles in, it looked like blood splattering like onto like the floor, which I was like, oh, Lindsay, you have to see this video. So I like sent her a video of like how it looked when I was pouring it in. So yeah, that one was actually really fun aesthetically, because it was just kind of like, oh, like there was so much love like kind of like put into that one, to where people, once they know about it, I think they'll appreciate it more.
Yeah. Plus, what I love, one thing that always caught my eye with that movie is I feel like in a lot of horror movies, blood has a really specific shade of red. It's like a dark crimson red. But if you really pay attention to the opening credits of Sweeney Todd, which I do every time, it's bright.
Yeah,
it's like almost
paint.
like a neon red, like paint, totally. So the sprinkles are pretty genuine to the colors in the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was great.
Yeah,
that worked out really well.
That one's really cool.
Yeah, so that one's probably my favorite just because of the cool aspect and it tastes delicious. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
And if you want it a little more subtle, I've also just used like a regular hot chocolate and done like a small scoop of that if you wanted just like a little bit of that red velvet taste.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you can add that in as like a subtle flavoring if you don't want the full-fledged, rich red velvet taste.
Yeah. I actually really like the hot chocolates in general because they can be used in other drinks as well. Like I actually have done it before where I've used like a strawberry hot chocolate mix and I put it in tea and it kind of gives it almost like this chocolatey like strawberry flavor, and I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you can use them as flavor powders too, just for other things, like put them in smoothies or like milkshakes, and it just makes it taste different, and it's really cool.
I love that. That's awesome. That's great. Okay, so the last hot chocolate blend is the Wonka, which I think I had the most fun creating with you.
Yeah, I agree.
Coming up, like, we were just shooting ideas back and forth for that one of, like, all the different chocolates, all the different, colors. So I was like, okay, so we've got white chocolate, we've got milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
It's like a sweet dark chocolate.
Yeah.
It's like an in-between, like a semi-sweet, semi-dark. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got two different kinds of chocolates here. And then we intertwined lavender powder because I'm like, when I think aesthetically of Willy Wonka, I picture purple, like just this purple outfit.
Yeah.
Different parts of purple throughout Wonkaland? That's not right.
Wonkaland. The factory.
His factory. So kind of like blending that in almost like a purple velvet blend instead of red velvet. And then sprinkles like candy because I'm like, we've got to have something like colorful. Yeah, totally. And then edible gold leaf to emulate a golden ticket. It's actually called the golden ticket blend.
Yeah.
So having that in there, I was like, that really feels so immersive that you've got the golden ticket when you're eating gold leaf. I mean, it's edible and it like totally dissolves, but seeing gold in your blend, like really gold in chocolate, just it really puts you in that space.
Yeah. That one I think is my second favorite because I'm just a sucker for the Earl Grey, but I love the lavender flavor with the chocolate because lavender and chocolate is one of my favorite things ever, and it just tastes so good.
So good.
One of my favorite ones too.
Yeah.
And again, aesthetically, I love that one because of the gold leaf and the gobstopper like sprinkles that we decided to put in.
Yeah, it's good. So that brings us to the Sparky blend.
Yes.
Based off of Frankenweenie, which I actually do want to ask you this question. What's your favorite Danny Elfman score for a Tim Burton film?
Oh my gosh, that is actually really tough. Okay, I will say I'm basic and I love every single thing he's done for A Nightmare.
Okay.
But I will say that my favorite has to be Edward Scissorhands because I just have a huge love for that movie. Like, it's gonna sound really dumb, but like I had the biggest crush on Johnny Depp as Edward Scissorhands. Like that, and also the Sleepy Hollow version of Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah.
And like for me, I'm like, my husband is 100% Edward, and like that's why I love that movie so much.
You're so right.
I know the way he walks. Like I remember one time, like he got up like in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom. He literally walked like Edward Scissorhands to the bathroom, and I died out laughing in bed because he just looked like him. Like it was so funny. But yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, so
very like twinkly.
Yeah, like the really pretty, romantic yet very Danny Elfman. So yeah. How about for you?
I mean, I do really love them all, and I have to at least mention my second runner-up, which is Alice, the Alice soundtrack.
The Alice
I feel
soundtrack.
like it's underrated, and when people think of Danny Elfman and they think, like, Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, Sleepy Hollow, I think Alice just kind of gets forgotten about and shoved under the rug, and it's like that score and the way that he intertwined, like, a whole chorus of musicians, it's just so powerful and magical, like, it makes me want to cry every time.
Yeah.
That's my second runner-up. My first one is Frankenweenie.
Oh, really?
Yes, that one is for sure my favorite. The organ that comes throughout the score and different tracks is just so powerful to me, and it just, I feel like it's just so unique in its way, but also so, like, it almost reminds me of, like, a Dracula castle. Like,
like the
grandeur.
very, like, old, like, antique, not antique, but, like, the classic monsters, which, I mean, Frankenweenie is totally based off of classic monster movies.
Yes, so that's my favorite score. So I was really excited to create the Sparky Blend with you because Frankenweenie, even though it might not be my favorite Tim Burton film, is my favorite Danny Elfman score.
Yeah.
And I was a big fan of Danny Elfman before I even knew who Tim Burton was. So that one's always been super close to my heart. So for that one, again, green being a really overpowering visual for that film, I was like, it needs to be green. I mean, the whole film is black and white.
Yeah, but it has that electric green color. Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of that Frankenstein coloring, too. So I was like, I want it to be matcha, I want it to be green, but I want it to have an electrifying kick. Like something striking, like a bolt of lightning that would kick your taste buds.
Yeah.
So we came up with the idea of partnering cayenne pepper with a creamy matcha. And much back to the Jacques Torres, he was my first introduction into having a kick with chocolate. He has a cayenne hot chocolate, which I was super inspired by for this as well. So putting a cayenne kick with creamy matcha, I was like, that could be unique, and I've never seen that done before.
Yeah, no, I've actually, like, never seen any of these done before, so they're really cool, and you should check them out.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was going for, too. I'm like, I don't want to just do, like, if we're going to do this, I want us to do it right.
Right,
First of all, I did a lot of research, and I couldn't find someone who did an entire line of Tim Burton film elixirs. Like, I saw maybe, like, an Alice in Wonderland tea, sure, but not what we created, which is an entire line.
Yeah.
And I'm really big on creating something that's never been done before. I kind of thrive off of, like, knowing, like, okay, this doesn't exist in the world, so let's make it.
Yeah.
So, especially when it came to that, where I'm like, I know that I've never seen a cayenne matcha. I'm like, we have to try it out and just see how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
People
really
seem
good.
excited about that one,
Yeah,
too.
it's really cool. I'm a huge fan of matcha in general, so this one was exciting. And cayenne just really tastes good, like, in creamy drinks.
Yeah.
Like, it's so interesting. So it works really well. So,
Yeah.
I'm glad people are excited about it.
Me too.
So for Big Fish, we ended up coming up with the name Storyteller Blend because obviously that movie is about storytelling. So I think that was a perfect name for it. And when Lindsay kind of came up with the idea, she wanted something that would be warm and inviting, kind of like you were sitting around and listening to someone's story. So we ended up coming up with a black tea that had apple pieces and like a coffee crumble cake flavoring to it, which we thought was really cool. And then I added marigold petals to it to have that yellow floral look. Kind of like how it was in the movie, like the daffodils. Yeah, so I was like, that would be really cool. So that's kind of the inspiration for that one. So yeah, and it tastes really good.
I think that's my favorite tea.
Really?
In the bundle, yeah. I think it is. It's warm, it's inviting. I mean, almost autumnal as well because you've got that coffee cake, like cinnamony mixed with apple, and cinnamon apple tea is just like an automatic yes for me. But then you've got like the orange blossom in there, and it just is really unique. Like it takes something that would normally be like average and traditional and adds a funky twist to it, which I really like.
Yeah, and I think the florals work really well in it. Like that's like one of my. I love adding flowers to teas though, because I'm just like. It's really good flavor-wise, but sometimes flowers are more aesthetic, and I like doing that because it kind of gives that pop of color to the actual tea.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful combination of color.
Yeah.
It almost has like an orange caramelly look to it in the same way that it tastes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I love that one. Next is the Big Adventure blend
Yes.
for Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yes.
Do you want to hear a fun fact?
Yes, I would love to hear a fun fact.
I have seen bits and pieces of that movie growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I've never watched it from beginning to end until about a month ago.
Oh, wow.
And I watched it, so I was like, because I'm like, how am I supposed to draw something for this label? I've never watched the movie in its entirety, which is crazy given like how much of a Tim Burton admirer that I am.
Yeah.
And so I never watched it, and then I watched the whole thing and drew the artwork that night.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so fun.
That's so wild. I mean, I used to watch his TV show
Right.
all the time when I was younger, but I never watched the movie.
Yeah.
And so many things made sense. Like, I never watched that Large Marge scene. And so then when I'm watching it, I'm like, this makes sense.
Right,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. That movie's wild.
Well, so I had actually come up with some of the ideas for the flavoring of it before I even saw the movie. But when I think of that movie and I think of Pee Wee Herman, I just think like ice cream truck.
Yeah,
kinda
that's
just what
totally
comes to
perfect,
mind.
yeah.
So I was like, orange creamsicle. Feels summery. It feels like young and childlike,
Exactly.
and that's kind of what we were trying to kind of bring out in the tea, which I think worked really well. I think the flavors are exactly that.
Yeah, and I added orange bits to it too to kind of bring out that orange flavor too, and I added a little bit of vanilla too to bring out the
Yeah.
creaminess of the creamsicle flavor.
Yeah, so it's a black tea
Yeah,
with the
another
orange
black tea.
creamsicle flavorings, and it really comes together very well.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear.
Yeah, it's so good, and it smells delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells so good. So that's the Pee Wee blend. Is
Yeah,
there anything else
I'm
to say
trying to
about that one?
No, I think you covered it. for
Okay.
that one. Yeah.
So next is the Newly Dead
Yes. Tea
blend. Which, it's so funny how the little things just bring me so much joy, and coming up with that pun just brought so much joy.
Yeah, I was like, yes, this is the good
Newly
name.
Dead, like newlyweds. So that one I think aesthetically represented the film so well too.
Yeah.
Like if you look at that one, even if the flavors, like the flavors, it's berry. You've got the blueberries, the
Yeah.
strawberries.
It's like a mixed berry type of black tea.
Yeah, with coconut, which we're debating on because we're like, that makes it so much more tropical, and the film isn't tropical, but I'm so glad that we did.
Yeah, me
because
too.
if you look at it, it's like bony shreds.
Yeah.
Like it looks like bone bits in
Yeah.
like a graveyard. It's
Yeah.
so perfect.
It is perfect.
It really all came together nicely. So that one, yeah, is very fruity, very, like berry.
Yeah, and I would say the coconut kind of gives it a creamy flavor to it too, which
Yeah.
I like, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Again, that one actually I think might be my favorite label though that like we came
Really?
up with. Yeah, because it's like this bright blue and it's beautiful. Yeah, I like that one. I love Corpse Bride though. So.
It's pretty. I haven't blended that one yet. Does it make it like a bluish purple?
It does
tea?
not because of the black tea. The black tea will make it darker regardless,
Yeah.
but the flavor is there. Like definitely that blueberry, the strawberry, and I think it's blackberry is the other
I think so
berry.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really got this dark berry flavor, which I really like. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of berry teas though. So
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, you could probably turn that into an iced tea as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And any of the teas that we have, we can make into an iced tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So that one turned out really nice. And the last one, which is probably, I think, just the one that we felt most inspired by.
Yeah, for sure.
Is the Dark Wonderland blend. So that is inspired by Alice in Wonderland. That was just too fun.
Yeah.
It's a black tea with peaches. That one I actually did have in mind that it would be, although Alice in Wonderland, you're like drinking hot tea. For
Right.
me, what came to mind is like a fruity black iced tea.
Yeah.
And it could be made either way.
Oh yeah.
But it's black tea, peaches, raspberry.
Raspberry. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it
Yeah.
has the sprinkles, which is what makes it really cool.
So beautiful. We found these, like, we were going back and forth looking at all these colorful sprinkles, really trying to find the one that made most sense for the tea. And we found these gorgeous sprinkles that had all the colors of the film, the little red roses, the red sprinkles, because I'm like, we need something red in our tea, which the red raspberry comes into play for the Paint the Roses Red.
Yes.
Peach is just what reminds me of Alice in Wonderland, so I think that's part of what came to
Yeah.
mind for that. And then we've got some of the tea containers have little cards, edible sugar cards.
Yeah.
with like an Alice print on it.
Yeah,
which is
it's
so cool.
really cool because they're like little playing cards, but it has the art from like the old Alice in Wonderland books, and it was too perfect. And it looks so good when you open the tea tin. You're just like, wow, like this is Wonderland like in a tin. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite ones for sure. And again, the art that Lindsay did for it was insane, and it's also in pin form, which is my favorite pin that she's done. It's so cool.
That design, I worked around the clock, and I changed it so many times. Like, if you were to watch my little, like, Procreate, like, making of, that rabbit had a million different looks. I, like, drew, erased. Like, I probably went through 5 different rabbit designs until I got to that one. And I kept playing around with it. So I, from, like, beginning to end, took 3 consecutive days, drew the artwork. And then I was super proud of it. So I was like, okay, we're putting this on the tee, making a pin out of it, and it just all came together really well.
It's beautiful.
Which I think works well, too, because to make it a full package, and there's an art print as well, it's like to have the pin and drink the tea at the same time.
Yeah,
and look at the artwork, like, it just really makes it so immersive and collective.
I think that's something that I love about both of our brands, is that we really like to immerse our audience into our brand. Because we both love storytelling, we both are huge fans of themes, and it's so fun to kind of work together because it's just like we get it. We get each other, and it's just so fun. And I love working with Lindsay. So she's like one of my favorite people ever.
The feeling is so mutual.
Oh, thank you.
I just love that you and I will bounce ideas back and forth and then create like something so magical and unique. I love that. So I think that about...
Yeah. Did we want to talk about the 2 teas that we'd done before?
Sure.
Okay.
I
know we said to end on Dark Wonderland, but I forgot.
Well, that ends the Tim Burton collection.
Yes.
Cool. Actually, let's do rapid draw first. Rapid questions. I'm gonna ask you.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. What was your favorite blend to make?
Ooh. My favorite blend to make, I will say, was the Wonka one, because that one had so many different elements in it, and I think that one was the most rewarding for me to see it like done and packaged in the end. I was like, yes, that's Wonka right there. Yes. That one was my favorite one.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question. Okay. Which one is your favorite aesthetically?
Aesthetically, I'm a huge fan of the Sleepy Hollow one. I love the way that the Earl Grey looks in the powder, because it does look like branches and it feels like you're in that like Sleepy Hollow forest.
Yeah.
So that one was my favorite one, but I think my favorite label still is the Newly Dead one, because of just how bright that blue is when you see it. It's just so Corpse Bride. It just reminds you of like the butterfly scene at the end. Like it's just kind of like that beautiful blue. So yeah.
And then I think you answered it, but I'll ask it again. What's your favorite flavor?
Ooh. Favorite flavor, I will have to say again, is the Sleepy Hollow one, because Earl Grey and chocolate is a match made in heaven. And again, it's the perfect fall and winter drink, and chocolate and Earl Grey just 10 out of 10. It's great.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Good rapid fire. Okay, so the other 2 teas that we have made in the past that we brought back in stock this time around was Haunting in Haddonfield, which is a pumpkin golden brew.
Yes.
Golden milk.
It's
brew.
like a turmeric. Yeah.
Yes, and I love golden milk.
Me too.
And I feel like it's so on the rise right now. Like it's so, dare I say, hipster to like get a golden milk. And I love it. So I'm such a fan of golden milk, and obviously I'm such a fan of pumpkin. Like I said, I'll try anything pumpkin spice once.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I've never seen pumpkin mixed with like golden milk. And I feel like that would go together, because if you think of pumpkin spices, you've got cinnamon, you've got cloves, star anise,
the nutmeg.
And a lot of those partner really well with what would come in a golden milk. Is there cinnamon in golden milk?
Yeah, I have cinnamon chips, and I have ginger and black pepper as well.
Yeah.
Because the ginger and black pepper, I think, actually help react to the turmeric, which is actually really good for health benefits. So that's kind of why we added that in.
Right.
And I actually also added real pumpkin powder. So there's actual pumpkin in it too, which is really fun.
Love that.
So that's like my favorite part about it.
Yeah, the flavors just go really well together. And a pro tip I learned in the barista world is to always make your golden milks with like a fattier milk, like a nut milk, macadamia, something, almond milk, something like that, because I realize now I'm in a room full of people who know far more than I do.
But our audience doesn't know.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but the fattiness in the milk brings out the richness in the turmeric.
Yes.
Yeah. Haddonfield Tea Blend is based off of Halloween. So now that I think about it, I think every blend that we've done is based on a movie.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I didn't even expect for that to happen.
Yeah, that will change later this year because we're basing it on a place and time.
Yes.
Instead of a movie.
Yes.
It's kind of a movie, but it's kind of not.
Kind of not.
Yeah.
It's mainly not a movie.
Yes. So the Haunting in Haddonfield is based off of John Carpenter's Halloween. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. So the last brew, which is actually the first brew that we ever did together,
yes,
is the Allerdale Tea Blend, based off of probably one of our mutual favorite films, Crimson Peak.
Yes.
Yeah, we had created a Crimson Peak collection set along with a few other artists, Starstring Jewelry and Little Ghouls. And so together we came up with the Allerdale Blend.
Yeah.
Which I really love.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Talk about that one.
That one's my favorite one because, so in the movie they talk about like the wild, the thornberry tea blend where it's like this bitter berry, and that was actually something that I was looking into, but I did hear that it was really bitter. So instead I replaced it with rose hips, which is also kind of a bitter tanginess, and it still kind of gives it that berry look. And then I chose rosemary. Rosemary is like my go-to whenever it comes to anything that's like haunted, because it kind of reminds me of just like this smoky, like haunting type of flavor. So I love adding that because it's such a unique type of like herb to use in teas because you don't see it very often.
Yeah.
Lavender is another one that's kind of got this ghostly flavor that, again, those two pair really well together. And of course I added rose petals as well because you can't not have rose petals.
Of course, yeah.
And then I love black teas. I've talked about this in some of my other tea making videos. I love black tea because when you add flavors to it, it doesn't overpower the flavors, and the flavors don't overpower the tea. Because I find it harder to blend flavors into like green tea because green tea has such a specific flavor, whereas black tea is just this plain, perfect round to build on top of. So that's kind of what I did for that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the idea, is just it wanted to feel like it would be the tea that they served in Allerdale Hall.
Right.
So yeah.
Although, spoiler alert, it's not poisonous.
No,
it
it's
won't
not.
kill you. But yeah, and I think it really is a grim tea. Like if you think of the flavors and the smell, like it smells gloomy.
Yeah, it does.
I think it definitely evokes kind of that dark, open castle. The
Yeah.
mood that Guillermo del Toro conveyed in that film, I think really comes
Absolutely.
through in the flavors and the scent of the tea.
Definitely one of my favorite teas. I've actually drinking like a lot of it. It's really
Me
good.
too. Me too. It's so good.
Yeah.
So I think that's all of them.
I think that's it. So yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions for us, or if you want to check out the teas and hot chocolates, you can go visit livelyghost.com. She has all of them there. I will add the links below. And again, if you have any questions or if there's anything you want us to talk about, we definitely want to do more videos together.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Oh, please send
if you
us
have
questions.
any ideas, yeah.
Yeah.
So we would love to do that.
There will be more content, I promise.
Yeah. So be sure to like and subscribe to both of our websites as well as my YouTube for more information and just for more fun stuff.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us today, and we will talk to you later. Bye.